being that we're a small community, we only have one police officer at a time. So that police officer that morning was Investigator Mary Temple, and she's actually fostered for me before through Friends of Jefferson Animals. So I was at work and she gave me a call and said, hey, there's a dog stuck in an abandoned house. Can you come out here and help me see about it? So that's how it was brought to my attention.
And then sooner or later, you learned that it was not in the house, but in a well. And so what did you decide to do then?
Well, after the panic kind of wore off, I crawled under the house and found him located in a well, and I crawled out from under the house, and Stevie and Pat, who live nearby, were there to help me, and we all just kind of brainstormed very quickly, how are we going to get him out? Because at that point he had been in there for quite some time. It looked like he was treading water. So we called a gentleman that works in town by the name of Bear, and he fashioned a rope ladder for us. And then they tied a rope around my waist that was a different rope and tied me off to a tree and lowered me down inch by inch until I could get to the dog.
And so the dog was trapped inside the well. And when you got there, what was it like? You told me it was almost like treading water. Is that correct?
Yes, it was treading water. I tried to put my feet down, but there was no bottom, so I'm not exactly sure how deep it is. But he was in at least 30 feet down below this house. And as I kind of explained to you earlier, you know, getting down there was the issue, but I would have not been able to get down there had it not been for Stevie and Pat and Bear making the ladder, and his wife Emily helping construct that ladder. So it really was just a community effort. I don't want to be called the hero, because without those other people, he wouldn't have come out of there alive.
That's right. And then they were there with the harness and everything, to which they got the dog up and everything. And so with them there, and you said your energy, tell me a bit about that and how they got you out once that happened.
Well, I didn't really give much thought to it, but Stevie's mentioned it several times. The lower you go down, the more oxygen you lose. And of course, I was hyped up on adrenaline just trying to get to him. And once I gave him the harness around my waist so they could pull him out, that left me with just the rope ladder. And Stevie and Pat were yelling at me, you know, push your back up against the wall, because it was a smooth well. They had plastered it. There was nothing to grab onto. And I literally pushed my back up against the well so hard I had bruising for about a week and a half, even afterwards. But they coached me up about 20 feet, and I lost all gas at that point. At that point, they yelled for assistance, and Bear crawled underneath the house, and all three of those gentlemen literally physically pulled me out, almost like you're rowing, because they had pipes above their head, so they couldn't pull up. They had to pull back. And so they all three lifted 150 pounds of female body weight out of that well. And I was exhausted. I mean, physically exhausted. And I think there's some pictures from when I got out from under the house. I don't want to speak for them, but your mind is just racing, because there's so many things you're thinking about in that moment, and not just the safety of the dog, but everybody there and what could have happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of last thing, just for you, and you kind of touched on this for a second, but had it not been for community members coming out and helping you, you know, would it have even been able to get done?
I don't think so. You know, we have a volunteer fire department, and again, our police department is a skeleton crew. So there was a rescue recently in Longview, and thankfully for that dog, it was a 12-foot dry well, but they have animal control, they have a shelter, so they kind of have a team of people, and the fire department there had the resources to help the animal control people. So without community members stepping forward, saying that they would crawl underneath this abandoned house and risk their safety, then our boy Orson Welles here might likely have died in that well.
Yeah, absolutely. Any last comments you'd like to say? Anything you think I missed that you would like to touch on?
No, I just greatly appreciate everybody that helped me, and even Holly now, who's fostering Orson. He's got a road of recovery. He had a broken tooth, presumably from hitting the side of the well on the way down, and he's got light heartworm, so he needs treatment for that. You know, he's an amazing dog, and everybody here is just blessed to have him be a part of their story, you know.